Hello Tarot Tubers, April here on Tarot and Witchery, and today I'm doing Kelly Bear's tag, which is called, oh my gosh, let me see, Tarot Winter Wardrobe. I know that I'm kind of late on this one, but it was so much fun, I had to do it. If you're new to my channel, welcome, and if you're returning, it's so good to see you. I just want to say I appreciate everyone that stops over here and comments, tells me all their thoughts and opinions. I've had so many wonderful conversations with people lately, and I really appreciate all of you. So I'm going to be doing a bunch of tags over the next couple months, trying to catch up, but let's dive into this one. But before we do, I have a free learning library. So if you're into tarot and witchery, you may want to check that out by looking in the description box down below and checking out my free learning library. All right, prompt number 1, base layer and thermals. So these are my decks, and I'm saying decks because I'm going to show you 2. Which are foundational to my tarot practice. And so I'm going to start off with this one right here. And if you've watched my channel, then this is probably not going to be a surprise to you. Dun, da, da. Yes, there it is. And here's the last card I used. Haha, the Chariot, because I was talking about it in my Chariot video. This is the Druidcraft Tarot. This is terrible, but I do not know who the author of the book is, but I do know that it's illustrated by Will Worthington, and I will buy anything, and I mean anything that Will Worthington illustrates. The reason why this is a foundational tarot deck for me is because this is when I really got serious about learning tarot, like diving in and actually learning it and taking a course with other people. Like I had journaled my way through the tarot, so I shouldn't say that. I had journaled my way through the tarot. I had done all sorts of stuff like that. I had read for years. But this was the first time I put myself under someone else and went into a group so that I could, you know, really get what you get out of that dynamism that happens. And so this is just a special deck. I mean, I love this 10 of Wands. I mean, you guys, I love everything Celtic. Great star, wonderful, wonderful star there. Love this tower. Oh my gosh, Queen of Cups. There's just so many that I love here. It's like an old friend. I don't read with it that much, but I will never part with it. And there's so much here that pushed me even further into my Celtic studies that the book tipped me off to, that put me on that path. This is a wonderful Princess of Pentacles. This is one of my favorite cards in the tarot period. This is one of my favorite cards to get in a reading for myself. I absolutely love it when this energy shows up in my life. The next deck, and somebody will be like, wow, this is your foundational tarot, but it was Tarot of the Holy Light. And I know that not a lot of people read with this deck, but I spent 2 years living in this deck. Look at the backs of these, it's so cool. If you are into hermetics, into esoteric theology, this deck is so fabulous. And it is, Tarot of the Holy Light is by Christine Payne Towler and Michael Dowers. And I feel terrible because I always forget to mention Michael. I always think of this as Christine's deck. She is incredible. She really is, the way that she writes this book, look, this chunky book, you can even see I've got little things in it. I just learned so much about the septenary and numerology, everything, so much mythology. You read this book and she just makes this off the cuff remark about, oh, as you know, as in the alchemical process of X. And then you're off, you're on the internet, you're buying books, you know. So this spurred me into a level of understanding of esoteric studies and even some hermetic magical principles that I had felt my way through and in, but until I read the book and really studied this and got into the symbolism that's really in here, that I really opened up in so many ways. And her understanding of the cards, like this is one of the best Four of Cups, and her explanation of the Four of Cups in here and how she talks about these disparate energies moving away from one another, and they're like floating on this raging sea, and how we can feel sort of spread wide, drawn apart, as though we are open and almost vapid in a way when we have the Four of Cups, sort of lacking in much definition because everything is so disparate. Anyway, it's incredible. I actually have everything that Christine has produced. This is her Foundations in Esoteric Traditions. Very, very, very meaty book, teeny tiny print. I have her coffee table book of this deck, and it is signed by her. Yeah, I'm a little bit of a fan of Christine and her work. So Tarot of the Holy Light, this is definitely my foundational deck here. The next deck is your Ugly Christmas Sweater. This is a novelty deck that brings you joy. How many of you can guess what my novelty deck is? I'm wondering if you can guess it, go ahead and put it down below. This deck, I absolutely love it. It makes me chuckle. Dun, da, da. The Trash Panda Tarot. Yeah, I love this deck. It just helps me to lighten up so much. It just makes me so happy. It gives me joy to pull this thing out, even just to look at the cards. But every time I read with it, I'm surprised at how I just get a different look on life. I cannot be overly serious reading with this. Look at this. It's in the Have a Heart trap going, oh crap. I'm such a serious person. I'm so introspective. I'm always doing the work. I'm always doing shadow work. As a matter of fact, I really struggled with one of the prompts on here because I'm so darn serious all the time. So this just helps me to not be so serious. I'm so grateful to, I'm so sorry I do this all the time to her, Dukart. Yes, Jennifer Starling Dukart made this, and look at this. It's just awesome. This is definitely my Ugly Christmas Sweater, and I think I will just love it for all time for the fact that it does something for me that is difficult for me to do on my own. Oh my gosh, my husband's decided to practice clarinet next door, so we may be hearing some of that, being serenaded by clarinet. Your winter coat. These are your workhorse deck. Your most used workhorse deck. Probably gonna be no surprise here to everyone. Oh my gosh, we're shocked, April. It's the Super Lunaris. Yeah, it's the Super Lunaris Tarot. And this is, again, I'm so sorry. I do this all the time. I should know this artist's name. It's got to be in here somewhere. I don't even know that I have a little book. Oh, here it is. Isn't that funny? Designed for personal development and transformation. I've never even looked at this thing. I'm so bad that way, you guys. Look, it doesn't even have the name of the artist on there. Copyright Super Lunaris. So I can't tell you, but I will have a link to this deck down below. And I've shown it so many times. This deck is just so easy. I reach for it because I know that I'm going to get clear readings. Sorry, I got that shadow there. I know that I'm going to get clear readings, and there's some diversity going on in this deck. This is my most unfavorite of all of the cards in the deck right here. The Seven of Pentacles. I just don't get it. Don't like it. But anyway, I don't like everything about this deck. That's probably the only thing. Yeah, so this is my workhorse deck, and you guys are probably just tired to death of seeing it. And so this is number one of my workhorse decks. How many of you know what my other workhorse deck is? Oh, everyone's going to be surprised. It's Judith Orloff's Power of Surrender cards. This is the Oracle deck. I have 2 copies of this, one in here and one in the house. I don't particularly like this is the last card I got. I don't particularly like the pictures on it, but the words are amazing. And I feel like she has just really, Judith Orloff has really created a deck because surrendering things is so hard for us at times. And to me, this is kind of the card that I do at the end of almost every reading, because I feel like I need to know what I need to lay down. How am I getting in my own way? And usually that's by holding on to something so tightly that it's not allowing flow in my life. So I think surrender is a huge issue for all of us. Letting go, being able to move on, being able to let go of the right things, being able to see things. No surprise about this deck. I even like the gilding on it. Guys, I'm such a magpie. I love gilding. Okay, next on the list, we have number 4, Snow Boots. A deep dive deck that you can really sink into. What makes it so interesting? Let's start out with this one. It's a newer deck. It's the Brady Tarot. Yeah, you guys, I still have the dust jacket on here. I just love that about it. Matte gilding, amazing box. I'm such a box whore, you guys, really I am. I've held on to decks that are really not serving me because the box is so nice. That's what kind of freak I am. The Brady Tarot, completely surprised by this tarot. Thank you, Martin, over at Martin's Musings, for showcasing this tarot on his channel. Never really been an animal deck person. And this deck I get it. It really speaks to me. It has keywords on it. Well, that's not a keyword. It has keywords on it, which I like. And the book is amazing. It is written by Rachel Pollack. And I'm going to make a confession here that is going to make some of you gasp. Are you ready to gasp? I reread Rachel Pollack's original book. What is that, like 78 Keys of Wisdom? And I was just like, nah. And it was revolutionary at the time when I first got it, but I think where I'm at now. So I was so surprised to find out, because I'm such a dork that I do not normally read who did it. I'm just really bad that way. You guys, I followed the Grateful Dead for a year before I learned the names of the people in the band. So this is Ivy Emmy Brady is the artist, and these are woodcuts. And I just have so much admiration for the work that went into these woodcuts. Every time I pull this out, I find myself going deeper and deeper and deeper into this deck. I pull out, and they're short. It's not like it's some ginormous book. There's 2 pages. I think I guess you get 2 pages for each card. But wow, I mean, it has a link to the land for me. So what this deck does for me is it draws me into the land and grounds me immediately. So it allows me to really tap into, once I'm grounded in my body, then I can allow my mind to open to the greater psychospiritual realm. And I feel like just looking at these images does that for me. It grounds me immediately. I find myself pathworking into the cards. I find that the book just continues to expand and speak to me. Every image changes every time I do it. The feeling that this creates for me is a feeling of spaciousness within myself. I don't feel, oh, sorry, that was really loud. I don't feel hemmed in. Like sometimes I can feel like tarot is getting trite for me because it's a set system. But with this, I don't feel that way. This feels almost like it's got a touch of Thoth in it and RWS. And yet it's such an earthy deck. And I'm sorry, words are failing me, but this deck is amazing and I absolutely love it. Okay, on to the second deck, because I chose another one here. The other deep dive deck that I have, and I talked about this in my 3 must-have witchy oracles deck, is the Old Ways Magical Oracle by Naomi Cormack. Did I say that right? Cornock. This work is stunning. I think she's working on an expansion pack. I hope so. I would pay for it. This was actually a very expensive oracle. There's not very many cards in it. I can't remember how many, but it's not a lot. I love the size, you guys. I love big oracle cards. I absolutely love it. This is it. That's all you get. But it's enough. It's so powerful. It's got a welcome message, a warning message, and a wisdom message. And I just find myself going to places within myself that I don't normally. There is so much going on in every card. It's absolutely mind-blowing when you start looking at these cards up closely. It's incredible. Oops. Oh my gosh, am I getting these on camera? I'm going to be totally ticked if I'm not. I think it was a little too close trying to get in there. Sorry. Oh God, I hope I don't go back and find out this video is crap. This is such a deep dive deck for me. It really has me diving into myself, diving into myths, finding my way to new places out in nature because of these cards, recognizing myself in the cards, and then recognizing myself in the nature that I've seen in the cards when I'm out in nature. So there's so many connections that go in so many different ways for me that this is definitely just a fabulous deep dive deck. Okay, now on to Hat, a deck that twists your noggin or that you struggle to connect with and understand. This deck, I saw this deck on so many different channels and I thought, I'm going to try to get this deck. It looks so deep and meaningful and there's so much going on in it. And it's kind of dark and mysterious and it's so artsy. And, you know, I heard people wax poetic about it. And so I got it. It's a very expensive deck. I got it. And I have struggled. I have struggled so much to connect with Nicholas Bruno's Somnia Tarot. I've had moments. And I guess I could buy the book on it and see if it helps me to connect even more with it. I have to work so hard with this deck. Does anybody else have this deck and feel like, oh, I get it. Oh my gosh. It's just, I so get it. This whole thing of like, there's no faces in the whole thing. Very Waldorf. Right? For those of you who know what Waldorf is. Levi, I'm sure you do. There are cards in here that I think are exceptional. And yet, like I said, I have to work so hard to connect with this deck that at times, I mean, like this Wheel of Fortune with the clock on fire. Like fire, okay, entropy. You know, it doesn't have a seasonal feel to it. It just doesn't evoke anything that the Wheel of Fortune does for me. Like I would never recommend this as a beginner tarot deck. My gosh. So yeah, I really struggle and I want to get it more. I really do. I want to be like, wow, I'm really that deep and artsy that this deck just clicks with me. But I find like this is to me is just a disappointing death card. It just, like I said, this is it. This is the hat, the weird one that twists my noggin. It's got this little Masonic knot on there. Like, I'm not even sure how that figures into the whole thing. I don't know. If you get it, if you get that deck, if the Somnia deck is like your jam, please let me know down below. And I'd also like to know, anybody else struggle with this one? Okay. Then we've got the Scarf, which is your hug deck. And I struggled with this just like I struggled with the Good Mood Decks tag because I don't tend to use tarot for a hug. And then I thought, yes, I do. Like there's times when I'm bummed and I want to do a reading. Like I'm just so bummed that I need something. And what is that for me? And it's usually like, this is like when I really need something gentle and sweet and kind. And I just need some softness. This is what I reach for. This is a newer deck. I've only had it for like, oh gosh, not even a year. So, dun, dun, dun. Does anybody recognize it? It's the Oak, Ash, and Thorn. It's an animal deck. So funny because for years I just did not connect with animal decks, but this deck just does it for me. Oh, does it do it for me? I'm almost tempted to buy the pocket edition if it isn't already gone, just because I love this deck so much and I want to have a backup just in case, but I'm trying to just use what I have, but I really do want a pocket version of it really badly. this deck was a gift, which makes it even more special. It's just so soft and sweet. This is definitely a world I want to live in. This is a world I want to be a part of. This is a world that feels, I know nature is dangerous. And in this world, some of these animals are eating each other and all that, but oh, come on, you guys. I mean, if that doesn't feel like a hug, you know, and it's the death card, you know, there's such a softness to this. There's something that's just, this is like a cashmere scarf, like the softest cashmere scarf ever. Amazing to me. And the fact that it was a friendship gift, and it's a very valuable deck and was gifted to me, it's very powerful for me in that way, because even that, and I'm going to say Laura gave this to me. Even that is part of what makes it a hug, is to feel so seen by someone who knew that I would click with this deck on this level. It was like they sent me a hug through the mail that I could use my whole life. And so it's so powerful for me in that way. And then I have another deck, an oracle deck, and I chose this because this is definitely when I'm at a place where I'm feeling like I just need to reground and recenter and feel held. This is it. The Greenwell Oracle by Daniel Barlow. I love Daniel Barlow's work. The backs of these are beautiful. This is an experience. I talked about this on my 3 Witchy Oracles deck. This helps me to tie into where I'm at. It is the Wheel of the Year Oracle, but it helps me to tie into something that's so primal within me. I feel really held by this oracle, by the images, by the colors. Just the feel of the paper. Like, these are paper cards. They're really interesting. They don't really have a core, I don't think. They're all natural inks. This is just as far away from a plastic experience as you can get with a deck. Look at that. Just gorgeous, just gorgeous. I'm gonna have to pump up the light, the brightness on this video because it's so dark outside. Yeah, it just sets me to rights. I feel so held, so comfortable, so grounded. I'm put into an experience that reminds me of what my magical self is and how it is connected. The whole experience with this deck for me is something that is beautiful. And every time I use it, it unfolds in a way that's like a blanket, you know, making its way around me. Just telling me, you know, feel better, feel safe, feel good. Okay, so that was my scarf. Mittens, your travel deck for reading on the go, is the last prompt that Kelly had, but I have one more prompt after this. So you guys, this is the deck that I have in my purse. I'm not going to take it out again. It's the Super Lunaris deck. I take it with me everywhere I go. I got to have it on hand. I probably should buy another copy of this, honestly, because God, if I lost a card, I suddenly was like horrified thinking, what if I lost a card and it was out of print? I mean, it's in my purse and getting trashed, but I don't care because I just want to have it on hand no matter where I'm at so that I can always have a reading. Okay, last but not least, I have one more deck to share with you. And that is my work sweater deck. So out here on the farm, the thing is when you have a farm, wow, that's my kid upstairs going crazy. Hope you guys didn't hear that. When you have a farm and you go outside, you run the risk of ruining whatever you're wearing, because what will happen is you'll be walking to your car and then you'll see this weed or this something or other and you'll think, why is that there? I'm just going to do that right now, especially if you're ADD. And so you'll grab it and you'll trash whatever you're wearing. Like, it happens all the time. So I have this sweater and I keep it over over my chair. It's this cheap, nasty sweater. You can see it here. And I just throw it on when I go outside because I know that I can get it dirty and, you know, whatever can get ruined. So in that way, that deck takes the brunt of everything. No matter what I'm doing or where I'm at, it's ready to go. It's ready to be there. It's ready to throw down, be down and dirty. It can do whatever job you need. And that is the Dirty Pam. I love this deck. I don't know if you guys, I can barely get it out of this box. This deck got wet. And as we all know, we can't get a copy of this version. I have seen, it looks like the same, but it is not the same. The last card I drew, well, that's just I had to chariot out. If you have this version of the deck, then you know that the ones that they're selling now are not like this. So after I got this wet, see how bowed these are. I took them out and dried them, and I tried to place something on top of it to keep it together. This deck will always be there. Look, some of it peeled off. This is terrible. This deck just works. It's like, if I need to get something done real quick, and I don't want to think about it, and I just need to get it done, and I'm going to grab this deck. So this is my Dirty Work sweater deck. I know that sounds crazy. I just wanted to let all of you know that I have a library or a playlist on my channel for spreads. So if you're interested in different spreads, I know a lot of people don't frequent that area, but if you're looking for a new spread, you might want to check out my spreads, my tarot spreads list. And a lot of those I have adapted so you can use tarot and oracle. All right, everybody, until we meet again, may all your decks be what keeps you warm, what keeps you cozy, what covers your feet, what gets the job done.